To the PRO Media Network. You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
I'm recording.
Get ready. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. And we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. Of course, I'm Big Q, and this podcast 296 on the Sports Coma, episode 296, and we recapping the Saints season finale against the Carolina Panthers. They fall short, way short, 33-14 in the season finale of what a lot of people are saying is a game that don't matter, didn't count, doesn't matter. I think I'm in the mindset that when you playing, I don't care if it's the preseason or not, you trying to win games. Could have been a win that got the Saints ultimately 14 wins on the season, but no harm, no foul, right? We got out of that relatively clean. We'll go over that today in episode 296. And in this show, we're going to have interviews from Payton. Bridgewater going to chime in on his performance today. We got the Sports Coma question of the day. We got Saints topics we're going to go over. We got the Saints injury report we're going to cover to the best of our ability based on reports that we received today. And, of course, man, Mike Thomas doing it big for New Orleans as he breaks the franchise record for receiving yards, surpasses Joe Horn. He was going to get it regardless. He got it late in the third quarter. Finally, he was able to surmise it, to get past it. But before we get into any of those topics, I'd like to say welcome to all you new and established listeners of the Sports Coma. In this episode, we're going to recap it. Like I said, the Panthers matchup. We have Coach Payton. He's going to come up momentarily and talk about his thoughts upon the loss today in the season finale of this one. This is also the Sports Coma Live. So in this live edition, we're going to be recapping those things. And like I said before, during the second segment, we'll open the phone lines and let you chime in with your thoughts. Give you the Sports Coma question of the day. Actually, I have two Sports Coma questions of the day. The first one, I'm going to give it out to you so you can think on it. And, of course, put it down in the comment section, if you will, with your thoughts on it. Or perhaps just call in. We'll release the number momentarily so you can give us a call here and talk about it. Give your thoughts on the game as well. As the Saints, man, close the season out, and most of the games, all of the games in the NFC have been decided. In the second segment, we'll go over the rest of the matchups. Just give you the scores and tell you who is coming up in the first wild card round. So who we're going to be matching up with, and prophesied if you would, about who we think might be the matchup. Now, Sports Coma question of the day to you, family. Of course, I know the game didn't count here, but I watched this game and I wasn't impressed at all with this team. I'm just going to be honest with you. I picked the Saints to win by 2 scores. They end up losing 33-14, man. And to a third-string quarterback that had 9 snaps, and most of the defensive starters was out there. That just really didn't sit well with me. I know it didn't count, and that's what they're going to say, well, it didn't count. But, man, I just didn't like how this performance went. They just could have did something else. We could have turned that off. And I wasted 3 hours of my life watching this damn thing. I could have bypassed this, to be honest with you. But looking at the question of the day is, who do you think that the Saints will face in the divisional round after the wild card's over, the divisional round of the playoffs? Who you think the Saints will get? Who do you want? If you listen to this show enough, you know who I want the Saints to match up with in the divisional round. Whether we get them, we'll see. But who do you think the Saints will get in that first playoff matchup here in the Superdome? Whoever we get, they're going to be in trouble, that's for certain. But that's the first question. The second question of the day, This is the first time we ever did 2 questions of the day. The second question of the day is, did you see Teddy Bridgewater? Did you see enough of Teddy Bridgewater as a QB to say, yep, I can see us building with that guy? Did you see enough of him to make that comparison? What you think about that? Of course, feel free to blabber away. Like I said, in the second segment, we'll open up the phone lines, or you can just simply put your comment there, and we'll read it, either this show or possibly the next one, as we do the preview of the upcoming divisional matchup once the wild card happen next weekend. Anyway, let's get into the first topic of the show. Was, of course, the Saints, like I said, losing this game. And I know a lot of people going to say, Q, man, listen, man, this game didn't count. This game, we already locked up everything. And I hear you. But let me just hit you with some of the statistics of this game, man. And then, of course, what the Saints was dealing with in this matchup. Third-string-ass quarterback. Most of the pieces were in the first quarter. They pulled out McCaffrey. And most of those guys were second-stringers. You had an offensive line that had a few pieces, not even off. They full starting offensive line. They were able to stop the Saints from getting to the quarterback. Not into the first half of the game. But listen to these statistics. Total plays, Carolina 68 versus the Saints 51. 68 total plays versus the Saints 51 plays. That's a difference of about 17 plays that Carolina had on the Saints. 374 total yards versus the Saints 294. Passing 263 yards versus 110 by the Saints. Rushing 111 yards rushing for Carolina versus 184 for New Orleans. Red zone, Carolina was 3 or 4. Saints was 2 or 3. Penalties, Carolina only had 2 penalties for 10 yards. This was a terrible officiated game, by the way. Very terrible. One of those touchdowns shouldn't have even counted, but the referee went and looked at it, still gave it to him. It was a terrible, really shitty officiated game. Excuse my Portuguese. Saints had 6 penalties for 94 yards, 1 turnover, which was an interception Teddy Bridgewater threw into triple coverage. I had to replay it a few times, and I didn't see what the hell he was looking at. He threw it into triple coverage to get the ball intercepted. Even Rondé Barber said any one of those guys could have picked the ball off. 33 minutes, 26 seconds for the Carolina Panthers versus 26-34 for the New Orleans Saints. None of this looked good. And, of course, you can laugh it away and say, well, it wasn't a game that counted. But, man, you mean to tell me that you couldn't put up a better performance than what you showed at home against a Carolina Panthers team without their starting quarterback? McCaffrey only really he ran the ball 4 times for 18 yards and caught 1 pass for 22 yards, was severely limited, didn't play the second quarter of the game and the rest of the game. And pretty much it was backups in there doing that to the Saints. Defense, and for large slots of the game, the defense was out there. And it just, I know it, and they say, well, they'll turn on it when it turns it on when it counts, but aren't you supposed to always have it on? I mean, what kind of team are we here? I mean, if this is any indication, Carolina Panthers were a busted team with a third-string quarterback. Most of their starters rested, How were we only able to do 14 points on this pathetic team? I just don't understand it. And you say, okay, well, Teddy Bridgewater was out there. He's new. 14 of 22, 118 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, not blowing the doors off you. Washington was pretty good, the running back, 11 carries for 108 yards. But but damn it, man. I mean, couldn't we have done better than this? 33-14 loss to the Carolina Panthers at home? I mean, to me, that just don't make any damn sense to me. But anyway, and they're going to say, well, Q, it don't count. Man, let me tell you something, man. Those were starters in there against that second and third, that rickety Carolina offensive unit that were dominating them on the offensive line. I'm a football man, and I know what I've seen. And for them to well, it didn't count. I don't care if it counted or not. You're supposed to go out there and put on a damn performance better than this. This was just absolutely asinine, man. 33-14. Absolutely just pitiful. But anyway, before I even get back into hitting you with the rest of these pathetic stats, and let's listen to what Coach Payton had to say about this team's performance. Here's Coach Payton.
Look at the film. It's not – we can spin it any way we want to. We didn't play well. So we can put our own little stamp on this and say, well, listen, it starts with me, and we'll get the corrections made. But we didn't play well. Credit Carolina. They came ready to play. He played a lot. He's been playing a lot this season. We'll look at the tape, and he had some pressures in the second half, but a little too late.
What did you make of Teddy's start?
Listen, I thought, the plan was to play him most of the game, and I thought he did a good job. I thought the one interception was a play he'd like to have back, but he did a good job. He had a great week of practice. It wasn't good. Wasn't good. We didn't get any pressure on the quarterback. We didn't tackle well. Holding the receivers. Pick something. You can run fits weren't good. So, disappointed. Hey, it starts with, that's our job, though. That's the business we're in. That's the business we're in, right? You can't just turn it on and off and decide when you want to on your terms. It's not like that. This game never has been and never will be. And so, I'll keep you posted. All right, listen, it was from the get-go, it was obvious, and so you take that personally as a coach, and it's disappointing. We played poorly. What about
the offensive line?
What about it?
How do you feel
We got a couple new guys in there starting. We'll look at the tape, and I thought we got some things going in the second half, but it's too hard to make an evaluation on all five guys 20 minutes after the game. Right?
Your thoughts on a guy like Michael Thomas for receiving yards record, how much that means to him, how much work he puts in?
Look, he's got so many other more significant, things that are going to happen in his career, and yet he's a fantastic player for us. And it was good to see him, get a milestone like that, and yet for him, it's always about winning, though. And so I don't know how old the record was. I had a year to coach Joe Horn, and he was a good player for us in 2006, but I'm happy for Mike.
Was it important to you to try to find him opportunities to get to that record? It seemed like there was a lot of things sort of going to it.
Well, look, what do you need, 24 yards coming in? So I don't want to downplay the significance of the record, but his career and what he does and our, the team stuff, I think is so much more important than, what was a record on, a lot of losses.
Would he have stayed in that long if that record wasn't out there?
Well, you only can put 9 or 7 inactives. He probably would have been at halftime, so,
So you lost the games going into the playoffs. Obviously, for your right, can you draw anything from that?
It's different. It's different. Look, we've been in this situation multiple times, 2006, 2009. I don't like losing games, period. It's like that's a game you don't get back, and that's for those players, for me as a coach, our staff, it is what it is.
That's Coach Payton, man, chiming in with his thoughts on the loss to the Carolina Panthers. Now, like I said, Coach Payton, you can hear him in there, and he kind of playing down Mike Thomas's record. Of course, Mike Thomas was able to bypass Joe Horn's receiving yardage record on the season, his franchise season reception yardage record. And he was 1376 on the yards, just 23 shy of Horn, who had 1399 back in 2004. And he was able to surpass it and set the record for Joe Horn, who was also in attendance. He also had 120 receptions on the season. Now, if anybody, he'll finish out as the top man. Now, the only other player to lead the NFL in receptions was Daniel Bramowich back in 1969 with 73. That's the last time a Saint wide receiver did that thing. So that's a big individual accolade for Mike Thomas, a hardworking person who set out for 200 receptions on the year but finished ultimately with 120. So pretty damn good if you're Mike Thomas. But, of course, listening to Sean Payton's commentary, he feel like I do. You know, okay, he got the record, but we lost the game. Every time we strap him up, I'm trying to win this here thing. I don't care if they count or not. I don't care if it's preseason or at the end of a regular season where we got everything wrapped up. I'm trying to finish the season on a high note, and we ain't here to just put on half-ass performances. And I feel like this was a half-ass performance. I can understand if the team that the Saints were facing was exponentially better than them, but this was the Carolina Panthers. This was a crappy team, to be quite honest with you. This was a terrible team. This was a terrible team, but the Saints allowed them to look fantastic. They as a team, they rushed for 37 carries for 111 yards, and they had 2 touchdowns running the ball. When the last time you knew the Saints defense to do that? And you say, well, most of the backups was in queue. That's not actually accurate. Most of the game, the Saints had the defensive starters in the game. You had Allen, the kid who had 9 snaps total in his history of him playing in the NFL. He comes in and goes 16 for 27 for 228 and 2 touchdowns and wasn't even sacked once. Not once. Not once. You mean to tell me not once? And the Saints had Cam Jordan, Alex Okafor, and a few other guys in there at the time. DJ Moore, 4 catches for 81 yards. Samuel, 2 catches for 72. Thomas, the tight end, 5 catches for 61 yards in the score. And Samuel had a touchdown with his deal. So what I'm saying is, a lot of people gonna say, well, Q, it don't matter, man. We lost the game. We lost, it don't matter. It don't count. This is one of those games where it shouldn't matter at all. We already got it locked up in the playoffs. I get that. Trust me, I do. But at the end of the day, the idea or the identity of the team, it don't matter if it count or not. If we going to play football, it's only one way we going to do it, and we going to do it the same way every year with the same intensity, the same drive, the same focus to win games. I don't care if they count or not, because that's what we here for, to win. That's my point. But anyway, we're about to go to our break. When we come back, I'm going to hear Teddy Bridgewater's interview. We're going to cover the rest of the topics, the injury report. We're going to let you know about some of the Saints, Andrews Pete and Alex Okafor and Sheldon Rankins, what's going on with them. With the Sports Coma question of the day, we're going to open up the hotline and let you guys call in if you got any questions or comments you want to share on the game, or if you want to answer the Sports Coma question of the day on air. You get your opportunity on the other side of the break. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Coma, recapping the Saints and Panthers. Stay with us.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
What's up, sports world? It's Big Q talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Boxing, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Postgame Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics. And autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time. Get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Hit the link below and rep the black and gold today. Who that?
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000. Celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registrars and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. I'm actually recapping the game. Saints Panthers 33-14 loss, and it don't count. That's the underlining theme. Everybody gonna say, Q, it don't count. It don't count. It don't mean a thing. It don't mean a thing. If it doesn't mean a thing, then why the coach upset? Why am I slick side upset? Why are true Saints fans, not saying that you aren't, but some people say, well, they're going to be ready when they need to be ready. Well, I mean, God dog, I thought it was you were supposed to be ready all the time. That's not how champions play, is it? They don't turn it on when they want to. They're supposed to keep it on all the time, right? I mean, am I right here? But, like I said, it was just terrible. And I'll give my thumbs up and thumbs down momentarily. But looking at some of the injuries, giving you the injury report, we did lose a few people. Andrews Pete had a hand issue. He got his hand caught up in the defensive lineman's face mask. They took it and they got it x-rayed. No word on that yet. Of course, we'll have word about that injury coming up next week. But according to some of the reports we getting, it's not serious. So, and they do have a couple of weeks until a meaningful game, if you want to call it that, is up next. But Sheldon Rankins also left, and Alex Okafor also. Both of those guys had injuries, which the word on the street is they are fine. And, of course, the Saints are still dealing with the fact that Teron Armstead and Bushrod and all those guys were inactive in this matchup. Derek Newton had a chance to play. Him and the other offensive lineman, Cornelius, played. They were decent. They played okay. They didn't allow Bridgewater. Well, actually, he was sacked twice in this matchup. But, like I said, let's look at the rest of the statistics in the game before we give Teddy Bridgewater an opportunity to chime in on his thoughts on his first time playing. He didn't blow the doors off, like I said. 14 of 22 for 118, 1 touchdown, and a pick he threw into triple coverage. Didn't know what he was looking at. Top receivers for the Saints was Mike Thomas, 5 catches for 29. Of course, he was targeted 7 times. He was pretty frustrated in this game as Bridgewater was sailing passes over high all day. He was, of course, not in rhythm, and that's understandable, being that he hadn't had any meaningful action in some times. Of course, we're looking at Traquan Smith. He had 3 catches for 30 yards and a score. He was targeted 4 times in the game, and I've been calling Traquan Smith scared and stiff because that's what he looks like. You know what I'm saying? If you look at his body language, look like he's scared, stiff, and every time he makes a catch, he look like he's hurt. Like he trots off, it's like he's hurt or he's uncomfortable. I don't know what it is, man. Maybe I'm reading his body language wrong or something, but his body language is not in the way he's playing, like catching and all. This just doesn't look like he's comfortable out there. I just don't see confidence in his movement. I guess that's just me. I don't know. If you agree, just let me know. But the Saints' issues offensively, they were stagnant for 3/4 of the game. Goose eggs, 1, 2, 3, and they finally scored 2 in the fourth. But the game was out of reach by that time. The first 3 possessions by Carolina were scores. The Saints had their starters out there. So don't hand me that stuff about, oh, well, Q, they ain't have nothing but backups in there. They didn't have enough backups to supplant the starters on defense, so they played a lot of those guys. Top tackler was Alex Anzalone. He had 7 total tackles. Von Bell had 6 in the game. Manti Te'o 5. Trey Hendrickson 5. A.J. Klein 5. Marcus Williams 5. DeMario played a little bit, 4 in the game. And, of course, they had a few sacks, a half a sack by Davenport, and Onyemata was the only guys that actually got to the quarterback, and they consider it a half a sack. So before we get into the rest of the breakdown, the thumbs up, thumbs down, let's hear what Teddy Bridgewater had to say about his performance against the Panthers.
Wish we could have done some things better. And you walk away from every game feeling like you could have done some things better. But I was proud of the guys who were out there today. Dwayne, was able to run the ball very well today. The guys up front, with some missing pieces, we were able to, shuffle in and get other guys going. And I think we did a good job today.
What was the moment like when you ran on the field against Bishop for the first time in the crowd?
It was a pretty cool moment, just running back out there. I know it's been a long time, but I'm grateful for that moment, grateful for that opportunity, and it's probably something I'll remember for the rest of my career.
Any nerves?
No nerves. I think I played this game. I prepared myself mentally all week for that moment. So when it finally presented itself, I was calm and just ready to go.
Can you talk to share with you how you've embraced your role in this team and what's it been like since you got here up until now and kind of what you've been going through?
And ever since I arrived here, right after training camp, right after preseason, it's been a great environment. I've been able to come in and just serve as a servant to this team, to the defense, whether it's throughout the week, giving them good looks, or just studying Drew and trying to push him as the backup. So it's been a role that I've embraced, but I'm grateful for this opportunity.
Did you come into today with any sort of goals, ambitions, or anything like that?
Honestly, I just wanted to get back into the rhythm of playing football. That was my biggest goal today. Having good energy, good tempo, in and out of the huddle. I think we did a good job of that today, and that was my biggest goal coming into today. Just getting back into the rhythm, calling plays, looking those guys in the eyes and instilling that confidence into those guys, and it was a fun feeling.
That's Teddy Bridgewater chiming with his thoughts on the game and the rhythm deal. You didn't have it, Teddy. To be honest with you, man. You didn't have it for 3/4. You stammered, stumbled, bumbled out of the start of the gate. Took 3 full quarters of goose eggs before you finally was able to drive something. And to be honest with you, I had enough. I was like, you know what? I seen enough for Teddy Bridgewater by the end of the second quarter. I'm not gonna lie to you. By the third, I was like, let's get a spark. Let's put Taysom Hill in there, see what he looked like. Now, of course, I know the Saints. I'm not down on Teddy. I'm just keeping it real about this performance. I know what Teddy Bridgewater is. I know he's a first-round pick, rookie of the year with the Vikings prior to the injury, led him to the playoffs, and then he had that horrific injury. I know who Teddy Bridgewater is. I know he's still he's a young guy that hadn't hit his ceiling yet. The issue is the Saints gave up a third-round pick to get the guy. I think he'll stick around. Of course, he can learn a lot more if he stay behind Drew Brees and continue to learn and study. He'll look better. Of course, a lot of football rust on Teddy Bridgewater. He started to loosen up later in the game, but you can't hang all this stuff on Teddy Bridgewater in this matchup, the loss in this one. Honestly, to be honest with you, the defense just stinks. The defense stunk in this game. I mean, absolutely stunk. It was sad. It was garbage. It was trash. And I don't like talking about my defense like that, but I'm going to keep it real. I ain't going to sugarcoat nothing here. Let me just be honest with you. Defense was pathetic. Sean Payton even made mention of that, how the defense allowed 3 or 4 straight possessions of the Carolina Panthers' lackluster, backup-laden offensive people to walk down the field and score and run the ball on them. You know, where's the pride and dignity? If that happened in Carolina, I was like, okay, they're away. I could see that because they play a little shabby in Carolina, right? But not in the dome, man. You know, where was the pride in that one? I just keep going back to that. Where was the pride? Anyway, Carolina Panthers, man. This was, I just feel like it should have been a win. Thumbs up, thumbs down time now, man. We're looking at the thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down. Of course, the thumbs down, I guess I can start with thumbs up. Let's go positive first before we go negative second. I got to give a thumbs up to, of course, Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas did it big. He was able to eclipse the record held by Joe Horn, and he was a little frustrated. Probably in this game, he probably would have did a lot better if Teddy Bridgewater would have actually threw the ball to him and threw it like he was supposed to when he made his cuts like he was supposed to. He had a dart he threw that looked good, and I thought he was starting to loosen up. But where was the clock in Teddy's head? I just don't know. Where was the clock? 1 to Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. If you don't see something, then run. Where was the clock? Clock was missing. It just wasn't there. I mean, I guess he'll get that in time back, but I have to give it to Mike Thomas. He takes the franchise receiving yards for a single season from Joe Horn. That was big. And I got to give him big ups for that. Also, I guess I can give a double thumbs up. I got 2 thumbs. I can put both of them up in there. Second one I'm going to give is to Washington. Dwayne Washington, the running back. He had 11 carries for 108 yards as the third string running back. He was able to eclipse a century mark in this matchup. And, of course, the thumbs down, I'm going to give it to the Saints defense. The entire defense, thumbs down. Thumbs down to you guys. This was not a game, and I don't care if they tell you that it didn't count or not. This was a game that the defense should have locked down Carolina's offense, and the Carolina's offensive unit dominated the Saints defensive line. They didn't allow them to sack the quarterback when Allen was in there. They allowed them to run the ball consistently, driving and getting first downs, and they went at least 4 or 5 drives until they finally made them punt the ball. You know, and about time at halftime, the score was 23-10. They scored another touchdown in the third quarter to push it up, and you knew it was over with. And people start walking off. But I got to give a thumbs down to the defense on there. You know what? I got 2 thumbs. I'm going to use both of them. And I'm going to put, might as well, in particular, in the defensive unit, I got to give a thumbs down to P.J. Williams and Ken Crawley. P.J. Williams with his bull crap. And Ken Crawley, what is wrong with this dude? What is wrong? That's why when Ken Crawley is on the field, it's just one of those things. Like, Ken, it is not hard. If the receiver is looking for the ball, you turn and look. You had the guy through the pass, and it literally hit you in the back. It hit you right on your nameplate. If you would do exactly what simple, just regular cornerbacks would do, which is turn and locate the ball, you would have had an interception. Same thing happened with Eli Apple, which is a topic question we're going to talk about on this side. Eli looked terrible in this game. Of course, he got beat up the field, but the deal was Banjo was totally out of position. He was supposed to be further up on top to protect that, but he's out of his place. But I expect that out of Chris Banjo. He a backup safety we seldom use for stuff like that. So I guess you can kind of fault both of them. But Ken Crawley and P.J. Williams with the hold. And it's just amazing to me that these guys been playing in the NFL as long as they have, and it's like fundamentally small stuff that you would kind of change. To jam them at the line, and don't just P.J. literally grabbed and held the man and thought he did something. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You just can't grab the damn man without. Oh my goodness. Anyway, y'all, you know how I feel about Ken Crawley before you walk it, and P.J. Williams, man. It's just, man, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good thing. But anyway, that's the defensive thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me hand out the number. This is a live show, of course. 504-475-4482 is the live. You can talk to me here, call, comment, question, whatever you got to say about the Saints loss. Of course, you're going to say, well, Q, there's nothing to it. We're going to turn it on against whoever we play. We're going to be all good. It's just certain things that I seen in this game kind of made me like, no. That's not who we are. That's not what it's about. You know, it's just this was terrible, man. I don't care if it counted or not. I don't want to watch nothing like that. Anyway, let's get into the rest of this show, man. Bad. Sports Cobra question of the day, fam. Who are the Saints facing the divisional round of the playoffs? Sign or chime away. Put it in the comments section. Let us know here at the Sports Coma. Who do you think they'll face in the divisional round? Who you want? You already know I want Dallas for all that cheating they did. I want them to come down here and we get some revenge on them. And also the second question is, did Teddy Bridgewater show you enough to be the QB of the future? Did Teddy B show you enough? Did he show you enough? Now, of course, understand that this is a small sample size. Of course, he'll get better as time proceeds because Teddy Bridgewater, he's a very good quarterback. But did he show you enough in this game going ahead? That's the question. That's the question that we need to answer. Now, a couple of concerns that we're talking about in this matchup was, of course, we talked about the cornerback play, secondary play, Ken Crawley. Now, you know why he's on the bench or whatnot. Man, I just don't know, man. Just don't know about Ken Crawley. Hopefully we're probably not going to see him anyway moving ahead. But P.J. Williams is going to be out there. He's going to be out there. And I don't know, man. I don't know about P.J. Williams. Anyway, some information on the games that went on today that we might be syncing up with. According to Wild Card, a lot of the NFC games have been decided. And this is what the Wild Card round of the NFC playoffs will look like. We're looking at Seattle. They were able to beat Arizona in a close one, 27-24, off the last-minute kick of Sebastian Janikowski, who I don't even think I don't know how that guy can kick anything, how big he is. And also, we're looking at the Eagles were able to get a win 24-0 over the Washington Redskins. Philly did lose Nick Foles in the game, had a chest bruise. We don't know if he'll be ready to go coming up. And, of course, Chi-Town took care of Minnesota, and what was supposed to be Minnesota's play-in game. They just needed to win that game. They were in. The Bears went down there to Minnesota and knocked them off in their own building 24-10. So that makes me smile. You know how I feel about Minnesota. So the wild card round of the NFC playoffs, the Eagles, with their win, they're 9-7 now. They've gotten the 6th seed. They will go to Chicago and play the 12-4 Chicago Bears in the cold. So Eagles, defending Super Bowl champions, head to Chicago to take on the Bears. And, of course, Dallas was able to get a win today as well. They came up with a really close game, grudging win over the Giants, 36-35 in the last few minutes. Pretty excellent catch by Cole Beasley. You know how I feel about Dallas, but you got to give man credit. They're playing very inspired right now. The Cowboys 10-6, they secure the 4th seed, and they will match up against Seattle. So Seattle will travel to Jerry's World to play the Cowboys. If I watch that game, I'm going to make sure I try to see if I can find that guy that stands behind the coach with the cell phone and the headset. Let me see if I can try to find that guy and see if he was there next to Pete Carroll like he was. Is he going to be next to Pete Carroll like he was there sitting next to Sean Payton? So that's some of the stuff that I see. So that's the matchups in the NFC side of things. Eagles, Bears, Eagles at the Bears, Seahawks at the Cowboys. So who do you think? That's the Sports Coma question of the day that we're going to be talking about. And, of course, let me read a few replies from the previous question of the day here. Well, let's see. We might not have enough time to read some of those questions of the day, perhaps. Yeah, we ain't going to have enough time to read those. So before we chime out, because we're about to hit the end of the show, fam, it's not much for me to even much talk about in this matchup. I just feel like I know it don't count, but at the end of the day, I just feel like if you're supposed to turn it, if you're going to turn it on, you turn it on and leave it on. You don't just turn it off, we don't have nothing to play for. If you think about it, you do have something to play for. You could have played for the franchise highest 14 win in franchise history. Never won 14 games in a single season. That's something to play for, to kind of cement yourself in Saints lore in that way. I mean, if we're going to play for receptions to break Joe Horn's record, why not play for the win as well? What's the purpose of getting an individual accolade versus a team performance win? What's the difference? But anyway, I got my son Robert here, and I want Robert. I'm going to ask Rob a question pertaining to the Saints, the Sports Coma question of the day. We're going to let him chime in and get his thoughts on the Sports Coma question of the day. The first one, of course, is who will the Saints face in the divisional round of the playoffs. We're going to let little Robert decide on who he think is going to be in the Sports Coma question of the day. Robert, who you think the Saints will play in the divisional matchup? Who do you want them to play, who do you think will be a best matchup for the Saints in the divisional round when they meet? Who do you think?
Cowboys.
Okay, why do you feel the Cowboys would be a good matchup for the Saints?
Because the Saints lost to the Cowboys. The Saints lost to the Cowboys, and they can get revenge on them because, I don't know, I just say.
I think so, too. That's a good call. That's my call, too. I think the Saints would probably be the Cowboys would be a real inspiring matchup for them. That's just my feel. They cheated us in 13-10, and everybody say, oh, the Cowboys showed the NFL how to beat the Saints. The Cowboys showed the NFL, they just showed them how to beat the Saints. I say, hold on, pump your brakes, partner. They won 13-10. 13-10, and plus, it's a bunch of crap went on in that matchup. But I just love just listen to them over exaggerate things at times. Second sports coma day for question for Little Rob. Do you, based on what Teddy Bridgewater did today in the game, do you think Teddy Bridgewater will be the heir apparent or the guy that will take over for Drew Brees once he retires? Do you think so, based on his performance today?
No.
Okay, why do you feel that way?
Because he threw into triple coverage, and he threw straight to the man.
Okay, he threw into triple coverage against the man, and you feel like he shouldn't have done that, and that's not a good sign. But what about the rest of the stuff he did? He did actually threw a touchdown. He did do that. What you think about that?
It was okay. I didn't really watch the game that well.
Okay, well, at least he's being honest here. But anyway, y'all, I like to thank y'all for listening to the show today. But I want to let y'all tell me what y'all think about the Saints sports coma question today that we asked. Who will be the Saints matchup in the divisional round? Of course, there are a handful of teams here. I call out for Dallas. What you think? Do you think it'll be Dallas? Y'all let us know. And also, the second question, did Teddy Bridgewater show you enough to be the QB heir apparent to the mighty Drew Brees? That is the questions of the day. So feel free to let us know. Did you see any concerns in this game as well? Let us know if you've seen any concerns. I've seen a few of them. The secondary, the pass rush against that pathetic offensive line was non-existent. That kind of concerns me because the next teams they playing, these guys they come into play. And then the idea, well, they'll turn it up when they need to. That just kind of messes with me for whatever reason. But anyway, that'll do it for the show. If you enjoy listening to the Sports Coma, please subscribe to our social media feeds. That's in those descriptions in the links below. You can also support the show by going to www.patreon.com and becoming a contributor like Sean Sims. Peace to him. And also, you could join our social media family when the link's in the description below. That's Instagram, Facebook, all that great stuff. So for me and the crew here at the Sports Coma, I'd like to thank y'all for joining us, new and established listeners. To all you guys, didn't get the win today, but we are in the playoffs. First round bye. I guess that's enough, right? Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free edutainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, and support the true independent artists.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below. NewFrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. NewFrog.com has up to 70% off on some products, and you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog. NewFrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Vapor DNA is the absolute premier online vape store, offering an industry-leading selection of e-cigarettes, e-liquids, and accessories. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service team is always ready to provide the best customer service experience to ensure you find what you're looking for. We guarantee our vaping gear shop products to be 100% genuine and the lowest price. We are so confident in our selection and our customer service. We will offer our customers a 45-day refund policy. That's right, a 45-day refund policy. We are proud of this offer for 3 simple reasons: quality, selection, and price. And that is the reason you should choose Vapor DNA for all your vaping needs. That's www.vapordna.com. Again, that's www.vapordna.com.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
What's up, sports world? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share, and help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.